It's our mock draft episode. We talk about snake drafting methodology, tips, and tricks, followed by the RotoBaller Industry Mock Draft. Ray Murphy of Baseball HQ drafts against us next on Beat the Shift. Welcome to another episode of the Beat the Shift podcast. I am your host, Ariel Cohen, and with me as always is Ruvain Guy. How are you, Ruvain?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. We've got a wonderful show for you planned today. A little bit different from our normal pace. It's going to be a mock draft, just to show you what we're thinking as we draft here. And to help us also, who's in this draft as well, Ray Murphy. Welcome to the show, Ray.
Hey, guys. Nice to talk to you this evening.
Likewise. Ray Murphy from Baseball HQ just had a fantastic First Pitch Florida online. I was a part of that, and thank you very much for having me. Fantastic job, Ray, on that.
Thanks. It came together probably about as well as we could have hoped. There's nothing like the live events, of course, but there were a remarkable amount of people showing a remarkable amount of patience and spending a remarkable amount of hours in front of Zoom last weekend. So kudos to everybody involved.
Absolutely. So we've got about 15 minutes before our draft gets started. This is the RotoBaller Industry Mock Draft. Thank you to the guys at RotoBaller for setting it up and inviting us to it. But let's talk a little bit about just general snake draft strategy as we go. Ray, let's start with you. Do you have a general strategy in mind? Do you have anything you do top of the draft, middle of the draft? I'm just going to leave it wide open for you to just talk.
I have preferences or sort of default positions that, depending on where I fall in the draft in terms of the draft order, how the draft unfolds, how my build goes, I sort of have a bunch of things that I expect to have happen or that I expect to try to do until I'm forced to pivot or change strategies. One thing that's been sort of interesting to me in my draft this year that actually holds true in this mock tonight is that I have been at the ends of the snake in just about every draft I've been in. I've had picks 1 and 2 and 13 and 14 and 15 in probably a total of like 9 out of 10 drafts this year. And in TGFBI last week, I got 9, which is the closest I've been to anything resembling the middle. But other than that, I've been playing an awful lot from the ends, which, as you know, sort of dictates some strategy, especially this year at the back of the snake, like I am in this 12-teamer tonight. You force yourself down a couple of paths pretty quickly, depending on what you're doing at the 1-2 turn.
Right. Ruvain, how about you? What is your general snake draft method and strategy?
Well, it also, just like Ray said, it depends where you fall in the starting of the draft. I like to get one of those big pitchers very early and also try to get some steals in one of the first 2 rounds also. So whatever's available when it comes to you, if you can get one of those top guys, you're lucky enough to have any picks like 1 through 4, that's fine. But I'm even willing to go a starting pitcher at number 3 or number 4, like DeGrom, because DeGrom pitched tonight. He faced 9 batters, 7 strikeouts, and hit 102 on the radar gun. So I think he's already in midseason form, and I have no problem taking him at first pick with my first pick in the first round if it's like, let's say, 3 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah. Before I get to my general strategy and stuff, in terms of KDS, you mentioned, Ray, that you've been on the wheels, the 1, 2, and the 13, 14, 15 down there. I very much prefer the middle, especially this year in drafts. Do you have the same thinking as me?
Yeah, I think if you let me have my choice of any draft slot, I would probably be looking at something like 3, 4, 5, 6 this year, probably like the early middle, if you will. I really like those top 5 hitters. I'm comfortable with all of them, but I would, I don't have such a difference between them that I am obsessed with getting Tatis and Acuna or whoever goes 1 and 2. I'm content to, take the quote unquote remains of that top tier of batters and then, have a slightly earlier pick in round 2 and round 3 and get off of the first pick wheel a little bit and move a little bit into the middle, but take that, pick it, in a 15-teamer, pick like 26 instead of 30. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I'll give you a couple of different strategy points and methods that I do. First of all, my general method is replacement level drafting. I look at the different positions and I zone in on where the biggest drops are. If I see that there's a shortstop available and he is much bigger value than the next shortstop right after that, or a couple down, that signals to me that if you don't grab that shortstop, he won't be there when he gets there, and you're going to lose a lot of value. But if there's some outfielders, and they're only about $1 or $2 auction-wise apart, I might be able to wait a little bit on that and snag them later. I always generate auction values for snake drafts, even if it's a snake draft and I'm not auctioning, just to see the tier values. I will say this year, in general, if you have a choice, tilt outfielder as opposed to the middle infield. Shortstop is one of the deepest positions this year. Long time coming from it where it used to not be. Outfield is a little bit less deep this year, so tilt outfield when possible. And early on in the draft, you want to tilt a little bit more towards batting average and runs, perhaps a little bit more towards steals as well. That is generally the way to do this. Also, be aware that low batting average power hitters are available later on. So again, tilt batting average, runs early. I generally do not reach. I don't want a crazy reach on any player. If the player is so far out of value, I don't. And as far as power goes, it's a shallow league. In a shallow league, you need more power than you think. Homers are up in baseball. Don't say, there's power later. No, you need to bulk up on power. Everybody's doing it. One more point about ADP. In the first 4 to 6 rounds, I don't look at ADP. I take the guy who I think is the best value to build up my base. Not just value, but in terms of roster construction. But I ignore ADP. In rounds 7 through, let's say, 20, I don't use ADP as a be-all, end-all. I just use it to make sure I'm not taking a guy that I like super, super early. If the ADP of a guy is 11th round, I'm not going to take him in the 6th round. I'm going to wait a little bit longer so that I can get somebody else and pick up more value. After round 20, I do whatever the heck I want. I just grab the player I want. Grab upside guys. Don't wait for that. Ray, what is the difference between drafting in shallow versus deeper formats?
Yeah, there are a couple of things to be thinking about there. You had a couple of them in your sort of thumbnail guide there. In particular, I think it is a good point that in the shallower leagues, you need to get, your bases of counting stats in general are going to be higher, and that's, that can push players' values higher, or conversely, it can work the other way. In terms of the batting counting stats, like you said, you need to accumulate so much power while you're still chasing speed and batting average and runs, that you get to the point where in like this 12-teamer tonight, like any single-digit home run hitter that you draft is essentially costing you ground in the home run category, right? Because your average per position is probably higher than that. So if you take somebody who's going to steal 50 bases and hit 350, you're still, relatively speaking, losing ground in terms of power. On the flip side, the overrun pitching, and especially with saves, the value of closers actually decreases because, a little bit paradoxically, because you need so many saves to get to where you want to be in that category. And there are, nominally there are 30 closers available to 12 teams here. Of course, there aren't 30 named closers yet, or we may not want all 30 of them because their skills may be that bad. But as a result, each individual closer is moving you percentage-wise, not moving you as far toward your category target as they would in a deeper league where you might only need 1.5 or 2 closers to do well in the category. In this league, you need 2.5 or 3. So the incremental value of each individual closer actually goes down. I don't know if we'll see that in the way this draft plays out tonight, but I am less predisposed to chase saves in a 12-team league than I am in a 15-team league.
Right. Ruvain, anything to add about difference between shallow and deep?
Yeah, when you're drafting in a shallow league, you don't have to worry so much about a multi-position eligibility because you're going to get guys that fill the positions that shouldn't be a problem. When you're in a deeper league, you have to look for that because you're going to have injuries, and the waiver wire is not going to be as thick with players that can fill the range. Also, what I've noticed in deeper leagues already this year is that a lot of teams are picking, a lot of players are picking second and third and fourth possible save guys in bullpen. You're not going to have that. You're not going to need that in a shallow league. But in deeper leagues, you definitely have to do that this year because that just seems like the trend. Everyone is trying to get saves whenever they can. Everyone thinks they're smarter than everyone else. Who they know who's the closer is going to be in May when we don't even know who the closer is now. So when it comes to the shallow leagues, you can actually go a little more stars and scrubs. Don't have to worry about that as deep. But at the same point, you have to be aware of the whole nature and what's going on in the rest of the draft because if someone zigs, you may have to zig with them also. Otherwise, you'll end up with nothing.
Yeah, I'll add a couple things. First of all, starting pitching, if you're in a shallower league, there's better starting pitchers available on the waiver wire, so you don't have to overspend for pitchers. I know that people are saying pitchers are getting pushed up in draft. You don't have to enormously push it up in a shallower league because you can stream. You can stream and you can stream. Pitchers available in a 15-team league, not as good, but in 12 you can. So you should also push a little bit higher, stars and scrubs, if you can. Take one pitcher, wait, and really bulk up the hitting. Hitting and power are really more key to shallow leagues. Pitching, you can play a thinner base here because of the fact that you can stream. I will mention that this is a one-catcher league that we're doing, and it's shallow, so there's only going to be 12 catchers taken. That puts the replacement value much, much higher than in a two-catcher 15-team league where you need to somebody's going to grab the 30th best catcher. As such, you do not have to pick up a catcher. If JT Realmuto is available in the 5th, pass. There's no need to take him that early. In fact, you can take a catcher in the very, very last round of the draft, almost as a bench spot, and that's okay. I might be doing that unless there's a really great value that pops up. One thing I'd say, for pitching, tilt a little bit more towards ratios than strikeouts. Strikeouts can be more easily fixed on the waiver wire, and with streaming and with two-start pitchers, you do not have to grab that. So guys like Kyle Hendricks, Zach Greinke, they're worth a little bit more in this format as you go shallow. Ray, let's go to some early observations that you've had from 2021 drafts.
Yeah, so one strategy that seems to have taken the Twitter sphere by storm that I actually have experimented with a little bit. Brent and I are writing about it this week over at HQ is the pocket aces strategy where you open your draft with two starting pitchers. It's not a strategy I would have even entertained as recently as a couple of years ago, but I think in certain circumstances it has some validity and it can be executed successfully. It's not to say it's for everybody. I think there's a certain mindset involved in it, but particularly with the way that starting pitching innings are being flattened this year, or we expect them to be flattened because of the coming off of the short season and all of the starting pitching workload concerns. The idea of grabbing two starting pitchers who are going to throw, and it may not even be 400 innings anymore. It may be 190 innings each or something like that, but who might give you 440 Ks and 380 innings is such an interesting start to your draft. And like you were saying, Ariel, that's there's some stuff that gets harder to replace later there. But you're really the theory being that you're pocketing not just two pitchers, but the value of like 2 1/4 pitchers or 2 1/3 pitchers because of the extra innings you get. There were a lot of people gravitating to that in the industry, and I'm not 100% sold on it, but I've taken at least a close enough look at it to think it's interesting. And I don't know if you guys have either tried an implementation of that yet.
Yeah, I don't fully believe in that, although I will say, though, that if everybody is pushing up pitching, it means that a higher percentage of their value on their team is pitching, and it's okay to tilt like that also. I mean, in general, in an auction, you want to be pretty much even with the rest of the group. If pitching is 70, if hitting is 70-30, you want to be around there. So if everybody's taking a lot of pitching early and that's a lot of value, that's okay too. I personally don't like the pocket aces strategy, but I do believe that you should have one pitcher in your first 3 rounds to solidify solidify the whole thing. A couple things that I've noticed about the 2021 drafts is that hitters in the first round are really good. Jose Ramirez, Christian Yelich, really, really late in the first round. These are solid first-round players. Really, really, really deep in the first round. I'd say that relief pitching closers are going much later than usual. There's usually one closer round, probably around 6, 7, or even 8 these days. And a lot of people, I've noticed from TGFBI, a lot of people are taking these number 2 or 3 relief pitchers on each team. And you're basically intending to drop all these guys the very first week, and you're passing up on maybe some sure at-bats for some replacement benches later. I shouldn't say it's ridiculous because somebody obviously is going to hit on a closer and win his league because of that, but it just seems like too much of a waste of draft capital to throw 4 of your bench picks, even though they're bench picks, throw all of them at not even starting pitchers, at third string relievers on teams. I don't know. Have you seen this, Ray? Any opinion on that?
Yeah, there's a couple of aspects to it. It actually doesn't bother me nearly that much. I think, I was actually just talking about this with somebody today. I think there are 2 aspects to it. One is with a fair number of closer jobs still unsettled here only on March 11th, being, 3 weeks away. I think that's 3 weeks away from opening day today. I think there will be some surprises in who are opening day closers, and doing a little speculation on that. And if you get it wrong, as you said, it's just your first week drop, and that's fine, is not a terrible use of a bench spot. And I think the second aspect of that comes into play is the way, particularly with TGFBI or the NFBC formats, the way they work the schedule, where you have that 3-game, 4-day scoring period to start the season. There are going to be a lot of 5th and even 4th starters who you may have drafted a lot earlier who aren't going to pitch that first weekend, and loading up on relievers who you can drop into the lineup for those first 3 days before that first drop that you were talking about might get you 3 innings, and if you're lucky, a straight win or save that before you drop them. Whereas if you activated your number 6 starter who you drafted in round 19, who might have a 2-start week in the first full week of the season because he's at the back of their rotation, but he's not going to play in week 1. So that reliever at least not only gives you the lottery ticket it saves, but the 3 or 4 games that you can plug them into the lineup.
And they're also they're hedging the fact that their starting pitchers may not go as long this year as other years because of the shortened season.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of 4-inning starts that first week, right?
Yeah, I shouldn't say ridiculous because obviously, it has been thought out. It just seems like such a large volume of four bench guys on a second string reliever. All right. Anyways, we're going to start the draft now. Quickly to set it up, it's a 12-team standard 5x5, 1 catcher, 22 regular spots, 1 utility, 9 pitching slots, 6 bench. We've got Derek Carty from Roto-Grinders. We've got myself and Ruvain helping me here. Scott Pianowski, Nick Mariano, Nando DeFino from The Athletic, Clay Link from RotoWire, Chris Towers, Pierre Camus from RotoBaller, Howard Bender, Eric Cross, Vlad Sedler, and Ray Murphy picking all the way at pick number 12. We're going to be starting the draft now, and I guess we'll be talking through our picks as we go. So in terms of the first pick here, well, we have the second pick, Ruvain. My thought is to take Mookie Betts if he falls. I did a Z-score study, and there's only 2 players who have Z-scores in every single of the 5 scoring categories over 1, meaning they're 1 standard deviation above the mean of the player pool, which is fantastic base to have around, and that's Mookie Betts and Fernando Tatis. Betts is a little bit more stable, I think. His ATC interprojectional standard deviations are a little bit lower, and that's what I want in the first round. Plus, again, as I said before, I'm tilting away from the shortstops, a little bit more towards the outfielders if I have a close choice, and they're close. Really, them, Acuna, Soto, there's so many good choices, but I'm going to go with Betts if he's available. Your thoughts on that, Ruvain?
I completely agree with that. I actually like Betts better than Acuna. Betts has no injury history whatsoever. Acuna really had some issues last year. It was all muscular, so it wasn't that big of an issue. But you never know. It may be a thing that maybe year to year. He's still young. Mookie Betts has done this every year. He's still in a great lineup, and he's going to lead off. He's going to score a ton of runs. I think he's the number one hitter available. With you know I'm leaning maybe a little toward Juan Soto also, because Soto, if you looked at the numbers he put up last year, he didn't play a full year, yet he put up a full year's value worth of numbers last year. So either one of those, but I'm better with Betts over Soto here.
Yeah, any answer is really good. Do you? I know you're not picking one or two here, Ray, but if you were, would you have a preference between the four big studs in the beginning?
I agree with you that I've been on the Mookie train, and the couple of times I've had the 1 and 2 picks this year, I've taken him. So I'm on board, even though it's a little controversial.
Yeah, it's crazy to say Mookie. Mookie Betts has really been consistent in the first 1-2 for a while now. We forget about it, even though we have Soto and Acuna join the party. But Betts, there was one year a couple years ago. Was it going to be Betts or Trout? And Betts has been there. It's that steady base of everything that you just can't get anywhere else. Is my feeling. Now, one thing I would consider in a 15-team league or deeper picking DeGrom if he comes up. I think that pitchers are really the way to do it. But in a 12-team league, as I said, I would go hitter the first round. All right, let's see what Derek Hardy picks DeGrom. Goes that route. We're going to go with Betts over here and cue him up, and we're going to draft Mookie Betts. All right, Ray, what are you thinking as this is a 30-second clock per player? It's going to go really fast. What are you thinking as you get to the end of the round?
Yeah, so there's a good list of hitters who I like there, and I'm going to go with one hitter, one pitcher, almost definitely, and I'll be curious to see what drips through the board here. But I'm probably like for hitters, I'm curious whether Yelich comes all the way down, Jose Ramirez and Freeman are certainly on the list, and for pitchers, it's probably Bauer, Nola, and Giolito that I'm watching for here. I would. Out of those 6 names, I should see probably 4 of them here.
Yeah. First couple picks, DeGrom, Betts. Tatis went third to Scott Pianowski. Ronald Acuna went to Nick Mariano of RotoBaller. Juan Soto goes to Nando DeFino. And Mike Trout goes to Clay Link. We're halfway through the first round already, and we'll be there soon. So you're going to go hitter-pitcher at the wheel, right?
I believe so, yeah. Part of me is tempted to go with 2 hitters and see what pitchers fall down to the 3-4 turn, but I think it's kind of what you were saying, a little more conservative to get one pitcher there rather than run the risk of, as you were saying, most people want to get a pitcher in the first 3 rounds. So if I'm essentially the last one to do that at the 3-4 turn, I may not be thrilled with what pitcher is there for me.
Trey Turner to me falls a little bit down as well in a 12-team versus 15-team. There's a little bit more sources available late. Are you of the opinion that it's DeGrom, Cole, Bieber in terms of the pitchers in that order?
Yes.
Okay.
DeGrom, Cole, I could throw a blanket over the 2 of them. Gap down to Bieber, another gap down to Bauer, Noah.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's a separation between DeGrom and Cole. I think DeGrom is definitely a step ahead of Cole. National League versus American League. So far, we have no DH in the NL, so that gives it. All right, it's almost up to you.
The top 3 pitchers have already gone off the board.
Yep. The next couple picks, Cole, Trey Turner went, Jose Ramirez, Shane Bieber, and Christian Yelich. 2 picks now for Ray.
Yeah, so Yelich went right before me. He was one guy I was watching for. I mentioned Freeman. The other guy who I still like here is, for my bat, is Trevor Story. And I will take Bauer as the pitcher since
all right.
he came back to me. That's probably a pretty right on ADP sort of choice. I didn't vary from what the marketplace seems to be doing with that spot.
Yeah. Bauer, to me, has one of the better chances of anybody other than the 3 pitchers that we mentioned to get to 200 innings this year. I mean, he wants to pitch every 4th day. I think the Dodgers, who only really signed him to a 2-year contract, and he's going to boot after 2 years at least, he's going to pitch as much as he can. So the innings are quite important in 2021, so Bauer is good. Game theory for you, Ruvain. Cardi took DeGrom as the first pick. I think we want to go hitter and pitcher, but not necessarily that order. Does it pay to go hitter first, then pitcher because he took DeGrom, or does it not matter, or what do you think?
I think it does matter. I think we should take the hitter first because he's going to take. I think he's going to take another pitcher no matter what. So if I think we need a hitter now because we're ready another hitter at this point. But I would think we wait for. I mean, sorry, do the pitcher first because you want to make sure he doesn't double dip and get one of the another top starters there. And I think we'll still get a top hitter in the beginning of the third round. I don't think there's going to be an issue with that.
Okay, let's see who falls to us. We're a couple picks away. Freddie Freeman went. Francisco Lindor, who I think is way, way too early in this format. There's a lot of other people I'd rather have. Yu Darvish next. Cody Bellinger at Alberto Mondesi, who that's also for me. I think speed is pushed up way too much in a 12-team league, but that's my opinion.
I can't.
Do you agree with that?
I just can't believe that Mike Trout is not the number one pick. He's still the MVP of the American League. He's still probably the best player in baseball. It's just crazy why he's not going number one anymore.
Thought about that. He doesn't steal, though. So in a Roto League, his value is a little bit depressed. All right. We got Walker Buehler, Harper, Nola. We're one pick away. What do you see on the board, Ruvain?
I think we have to take a pitcher here. I think according to our rankings, we actually would. Giolito just went also, so now we have to. I think we have to pick a pitcher here. I think we go either Kershaw, Scherzer, or Flaherty. Your choice.
I'm gonna say let's go with the hitter. Let's go with Machado first. I like Machado
we'll go with the
here.
hitter first.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Machado. Ooh, that clock is so strong. It's
we got Machado.
Yeah, I got Machado. Yeah, because I think that he's gonna go hitter here.
You
so
think
game
hitter
theory.
hitter? Well,
yeah, I like Luis Castillo. He went Bichette with the first one. I like Luis Castillo. Scherzer. What do you think, Ruvain?
I'm good with any one of those. Any one of those can be an ace on any team, so I have no issue with any of them.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Luis Castillo, I think. I like his consistency, and I think there's some upside. We're getting him in the third round. And I think it'll be... Yeah, he went Bichette Springer. I told you on that. Good thing we went for the hitter first. So we got Castillo. Our team is now Betts Machado, who is also a fantastic base in every category, and Luis Castillo. All right, Ray, what do you think of our picks?
I like them. That's a solid base of hitting you've accumulated with Machado, and Castillo is certainly appropriate there. I think in my own starting pitching rankings, he would have been the best on the board there. So I like the build so far.
Yeah, and
speaking of builds, I think the oddest one I see so far is Chris Towers, who you mentioned Mondesi earlier, but he paired Mondesi with Garrett Cole, which means he got virtually no power in the first two rounds, which is a tough thing to make up.
Yeah, I agree, and that's we said that earlier. And I am glad that we took that hitter. Again, it's game theory. When it gets down to this, it's game theory. The guy took the pitcher. I'm going hitter because he doesn't need one. Very important to see where you are if you're by the wheel. All right, Ray, take us through your next pick as it's about middle of the round. DJ LeMahieu, Corey Seager, Jack Flaherty are the next three.
Yeah, so I'm still about half a round away. So if I'm building a queue here, I need to be working with 5 or 6 names. I'm pretty sure these are going to be two bats for me. I want to build a pitching staff, of course, like everybody else, but I feel like I could do that a little bit later. So I'm going to be looking to, and it's good that I got a true sort of 5-category foundation with Trevor Story. So I'm not really chasing any particular shortcoming here yet. I'm really just looking to build a broad base accounting stats. So there's certainly a lot of 4-category power guys available, and there are a few speed sources laying around too. So we're now 2 picks away: Scherzer, Abreu, Bogarts, Brandon Woodruff, and let's see. I'm putting Kyle Tucker in my queue because
1 pick away.
That's a guy I like a lot and haven't seen come back at me much this year. And
not a lot of people did pocket aces. Most people have one pitcher in the first.
You're right.
And everybody has a pitcher, by the way. No, Pierre Camus, no pitchers.
Merrifield goes. So I'm going to take Kyle Tucker, and let's see. Going for that broad base still. Let's do Ozzie Albies. Try to cover up the second base and shortstop positions with multi-category contributors. So now with a base of Story, Tucker, and Albies, that's a lot of power speed combination and I've also filled second shortstop and an outfield, so should give you a lot of flexibility on the next few turns.
Yeah, you got a lot of base, broad base. That's what you want to do in drafts. You don't want to load up on something. If you are going to load up on something, it's power. But definitely, I like your start here. And pretty spread out position-wise. An outfielder, you got the shortstop, you got the other middle infielder, and there are corners available later. There's no pressing need to take anyone. Jose Abreu probably taken a little bit too early, I think.
Just as something I'm noticing, the first 3 rounds went by, 11 middle infielders went out and only 7 outfielders. So it just shows that the middle infielders are going a lot quicker, and the outfielders, because they're much more shallower, it's taking a lot more time for them to get off the board, even though there's so many more of them.
Sorry, it looks like I need to pick Albies again here.
Yes, we have an issue here where there's a take back here. They are taking back the Merrifield pick. Okay.
They're going all the way back to before me.
Okay,
again.
so instead of Merrifield,
but
he wants Glass now. Instead of Merrifield, which would have given him Yelich, Freeman, Merrifield, Vlad Sedler wanted Glass now. And although this is a mock, it is moderated, so we're not screwing people out of picks here. Very, very quick clock here, 30 seconds. Goes really fast.
And that's the difference between doing it online and doing it in person. In person, you just yell out the name. You don't have to worry about the computer not letting you click.
That's true, and a little bit more leeway here. I'm assuming you. You're going to get the same people, right? There you go. Glass now, Tucker, Albies, done.
I have repeated my 2 picks, and I like them as much as I did the first time.
Yeah. No, no issue there. Rendon goes. That was at the top of my queue.
Yeah, that was another one I was certainly looking at. Yep.
Big base. Rendon, very, very low variance player. I mean, he a little bit of a down year last year, but just easy regression brings him back. Luis Robert goes, or Robert, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I don't think he does either. Maybe he does. Luis Robert goes. Eloy Jimenez goes. Here come the outfielders. There we go. Let's see. All right, well, Pierre Camus is going to take a pitcher. I think he only has he has no pitchers, 3 players, and probably
if I had to guess, I'd say he's taking Snell here.
All right, let's see what he does.
Oh.
He takes Zach Gallen. Okay. Zach Gallen there. All right, Ruvain, what are your thoughts as we approach our pick for the next one?
I think we have to go. I think we go hitter here. I don't like the pitchers coming up too much in the next tier, so I think we possibly go hitter here.
Yeah. Yep. I don't love the pitching here, and I like the ratio guys. We can wait a little bit more. Way too early for a closer. Let's get some power here. Aaron Judge just went. Marcell Ozuna, the top outfielder on the board. I like that. Outfielder done. Starling Marte is also available. Get you a little bit of power, but some speed. Pete Alonso's available. In this type of format, I might enjoy him also. Ozuna just went, so we're not getting Ozuna. What do you think about Pete Alonso right here?
I think it's a good spot for him. I think it's sort of close to his ADP also, so I think it's a good spot.
All right, so we're up now. It's Alonso or Arenado or Bregman. Go with Alonso, the easy power guy.
I maybe go with you know what? Yeah, go with him. You can always get Arenado on the way back. You'll be filled up with power that way.
Well, we don't need a third baseman. Also, we have one in Machado. So let's go Arenado. Let's go Alonso. That is, and he is ours. We'll have to pick right away. Blake Snell is sitting out there and is interesting. He's the top pitcher, and I like him a lot better than others. I think it's Snell for me if it doesn't.
If Snell's available, if Snell's available, you take him. Otherwise, you may even want to go with a middle infield. Maybe something like a Tim Anderson here for.
Yeah, Tim Anderson's available. I like him. We'll get you the average. Remember, we're talking about average runs, so I would go with him. Kettle Marte off the board for Derek Hardy. So Anderson or Snell, which would you prefer? I'm gonna say Snell.
I would say Snell first, then Anderson if both are available.
Yeah, the drop between there's a lot of shortstops, but the drop between Snell and the next pitcher for me is very large. He's the last one in the tier, so I'm gonna go Snell if it's available. Otherwise, we go Anderson, and the winner is.
You can have anyone you want.
Let's see, who'd he take?
He took Josh Hader.
He took Hader. All right, well. Yeah, wow. I only have 15 seconds. My computer is slow here. Let's go Snell right here.
You go Snell, yes.
All right, so now we've got a nice pair. Luis Castillo, Blake Snell. I like that pair, and we have enough power with Alonso. All right, Ray, your thoughts on our selections there?
Yeah, that's a nice turn. You've got a slightly different build than me going. We've got we've both got one outfielder, but you've got both corners and I've got both middles. So fair to say you've got quite a bit more power than me. I've probably got a little more speed than you at this point, but there's plenty of time to balance that off. I do think the Castillo-Snell starts of the rotation is very nice. Snell's right on that line for me of guys I'm not really comfortable with as my SP1, but I'm very comfortable with it as SP2. So putting him behind Castillo, I think, is exactly the right place for him.
Right. All right, up to you now. It's getting there. We got Alex Bregman goes, Randy Arozarena goes next, and Gleyber Torres, some guys who are getting pushed up. All right, what are your thoughts as it's coming back to the end of round 5 for you?
Yeah, I was popping a couple of names in my queue here, and it's funny because I've got, even though I was just saying, I've got infielders, I've got second and shortstop covered. I've got a few guys here who I still like. There's Tim Anderson, who you guys mentioned. There's Kevin Biggio and Brandon Lowe, who both would be a second baseman for me, which would be a little bit wonky, but it briefly makes me think that maybe instead of taking Albies, I should have deferred. But we're still half a round away, and I got to see what comes back to me here. I think it's probably also time to mix in some starting pitching candidates. I've got Kenta Maeda in the queue. Corbin Burns is in range here. I think Carlos Carrasco could have been in range, but now he's got a bulky elbow, so I'm going to back off of him. But that's pretty much where the queue stands right now. I've got 4 names in there, and I'm 4 picks away. So we'll see what happens.
At this point in the draft, are you looking for value, or are you just looking at your team and trying to mix and match?
I mean, normally I'm just looking for value, and again, given the sort of broad categorical base I built here, I don't need to prioritize anything in particular. So, a second outfielder would probably be the best positional fit at this point, but I'm not gonna force that either. There goes Maeda. So for other pitchers,
you definitely need power. By the way, I would take a power bat somewhere.
Yeah, I've got those. I should be good with stolen bases for a while. So power bats certainly end up being, primarily focused in the corners in the outfield, and I don't really have many of those, so that makes sense.
There goes Tim Anderson.
Tim Anderson, very late for Tim Anderson there, by the way. Very late.
And what do you know? I'm up. I'm going to take...
You wouldn't have taken Tim Anderson anyways, so there you go.
Exactly. I didn't have to worry about that.
Right.
Let's take Lance Lynn.
Yeah, you got innings there.
As my pitcher.
A lot of innings.
Theme. A lot of innings there, maybe as good a bet as anybody to lead the American League in innings this year. And even though I've already got a second baseman, I'm going to double down with Brandon Lowe because I just really like him. And he also comes with second base outfield eligibility, so I've got some ability to move him around if I need to. He doesn't directly fix the power that you were talking about, but as you said in your intro, low batting average power is available throughout the draft.
Right.
So I'm confident I can find that later.
Right. Yeah. He qualifies in the outfield because otherwise you would have your whole middle infield taken up, which in theory is okay, but it does if you take up your shortstop, second baseman, and middle infield this early, then if good value comes later, you just can't really get it because you have other priorities. But if Lau's in the outfield, then you're okay. Liam Hendricks goes, Jordan Alvarez goes, Jose Altuve. As far as utility, by the way, there's no problem if anybody has a utility player here. Like you take the value here. No problem whatsoever. Ryu went a lot of pitchers coming off. That's why I'm glad we took Snell, because if we didn't take Snell, the drop would be humongous to the next tier. I like this. And the drop between the hitter, Anderson, and whoever is going to be less. So, again, it's the replacement level drafting style. All right, Ruvain, what are the options as we've got about 3 picks left to us?
I say we go outfielder here with some power, possibly something like maybe a Michael Conforto or even a Trent Grisham because he's stolen bases. But I think on the way back we should think about getting a closer because a couple closers have been taken off the board already.
Yeah, I'm an Edwin Diaz fan, and round 7 sounds very decent. But yeah, I Grisham will give you the power speed blend. We went very heavy power with Alonso. Our team needs a little bit more steals. The batting average, I worry if we do that. You have Alonso and Grisham to start, but there's always a trade-off somewhere. Eugenio Suarez goes, Chapman goes. I think it's Edwin Diaz, and Derek Carty took Hader. He's not going to go for Edwin Diaz, so you don't have to worry about that.
So if he's not going to go with Edwin Diaz, then you go with the outfielder now with the steals. You'll Trent Grisham. Yes. You get Edwin Diaz on the way back.
Yes, correct. All right, so 1 pick to us. I believe we're going to go Trent Grisham here. Could have also go Conforto, but Grisham steals a little bit more.
Too many Mets on a team is not a good thing either.
Kyle Hendricks just went, so Trent Grisham is up, and Grisham is ours. Edwin Diaz, if available, is. If not, I don't really want to push and go to a much less closer. I'll just go Conforto and double up in the outfield because he's the highest value guy. So if you can't get positions, just go for value, and Conforto is almost at the top of my list here. As we go in the 7th round, Castellanos.
You could go with Javier Baez if you want, also, because that's a middle infield guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, it went Castellanos, Steven Strasburg, so we're gonna go Edwin Diaz here. And now we got our pitching base, we've got our saves base, and we got some steals with Betts and Grisham. We got plenty of power. The only category I worry about is batting average, so maybe tilt more batting average next time around. All right, Ray, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so Diaz I think is entirely the right time for that. That's what the 4th closer off the board, and potentially, there's no guarantee you got the 4th best closer. You may have gotten the best closer.
Hopefully,
we'll see how that works out. But there's skill wise, Diaz, not just the saves total, but the likelihood of 100 strikeouts really helps, and in fact probably does a little bit to mitigate the potential short innings concern with Snell. So you've with 3 pitchers on the roster, and even if Snell only strikes out 150, if Diaz strikes out 100, then that helps that. And on offense, two outfielders to go with your 2 corners now, and Betts gives you such a good base. You're probably, I don't have the math in front of me, but you're probably not that far behind his batting average, and I'm sure you'll find another stolen base guy soon. But that's that's an entirely solid foundation.
Right, awesome. All right, you got 3 picks left to go. Conforto was just taken by Nando. Carlos Carrasco went, and Jose Berrios went. So bit of a pitcher run with Strasburg, Diaz, Berrios, Carrasco. What are you thinking as we come to the end for you?
Yeah, I'm looking at probably just more bats in my queue right now. Like we said, I may have Lau stashed in the outfield. I may have him in middle. We'll see how that plays out. But I need some power. I have room for some outfielders, and luckily that's a nice intersection. I see in my queue Eddie Rosario, Teoscar Hernandez, JD Martinez, Matt Olson over at first base, Nelson Cruz if I want to fill my util. So plenty of options there, and and honestly the other guy who's still sitting there, who I was looking at last time through, was Kevin Biggio, who I believe is also eligible at third base. So that's I could yet fit him in. But I'm going to lose 4 names here. So
yeah, Biggio is available at 2nd, 3rd, and outfield. Very, very good for that spot.
So between Lau and Biggio, I would have a little bit of the team pretzel thing going on.
Yeah.
But I also do take the point that you made in my last turn that a couple of pure power plays would fit here, and that's not really Biggio.
If you don't pick a closer here, you're going to be waiting for quite a while to get a closer. Is that a problem for you?
I'm pretty comfortable doing that. I was looking at Raisel Iglesias as possibly the closer I would take here, and I've got him in sort of the in case of emergency break glass sort of spot in my queue. But if I get 2 bats I want, I'm probably going to let that go, and I'll fish in the in another spot in the closer waters. Let's see. I'm up. I'm going to take Rosario as the pure power outfielder there, and I like both. So Cruz went right before me, so I don't have that. I'm going to do. This is round 8. I'm going to do JD Martinez too. So I just solved any concerns about my power. I think with the Rosario JD Martinez combo there.
Right.
Of course, I have no saves now, so I'm probably going to be one of the last people in the league.
All right, but it's a 12-team. It's a 12-team league. You can go cheap in the end. As you said before, it's not a big concern. You don't have to push it up that much. I think you'll be fine, and you might even get a decent one on your way back. You never know.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I like it. I love Eddie Rosario there, and JD Martinez, very undervalued. Did you expect him to rebound to? I'm not going to say to where he was, but do you expect him to rebound to being a productive, 5th, 6th round type player?
Yeah, I really do. Between some lingering injury concerns and the fact that he seems like even he acknowledged that there was a video thing that he was annoyed about not being able to watch video in the clubhouse last year. But also, I think he commented that there might have been a preparedness issue with him coming back for the short season after the shutdown. So, he's not so old, and, there are not any, he's got some dings around him, but not any chronic physical problems that I'm worried about.
Right.
That Boston lineup should still be decent, if not great. So yeah, I'm in on that.
Right. Well, my queue just got decimated here with
see.
Gurriel, Teoscar Hernandez, Matt Olson, Javier Baez, Iglesias. That just decimated my queue here. And should be. We have got a lot of experts, a lot of really sharp minds here. We're 2 picks away. I'm looking at Franmil Reyes in the 8th round, who I think is undervalued, and Dansby Swanson. I happen to know Derek Carty loves Dansby Swanson, so if I want to go those two, I'm going to go Swanson first because might lose him to Carty there.
What about Kevin Biggio? He's been mentioned a lot by Ray. Would you take him here also?
Oh, Biggio's still available? That sounds
He's
like a
still
great.
available.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great spot for him. Multi-eligibility.
He just got sniped.
Oh, he got sniped.
Oh,
Scott
there we go.
Pianowski does that. All right. Let's go Dansby Swanson, and then hopefully Franmil will come around. Thoughts on that, Ruvain? Yep.
Yeah, he should, because Frammel's ADP is later, so you probably get him.
Yep. All right. So we're going to go Dansby Swanson. Cardi's probably going to give us a nasty message in the chat here, but I'll have to go. But yeah, Kevin Biggio, good call on that. That would have been the right pick. All right, let's see what we have here. Cardi will go with
Marcus Semien.
Marcus Semien. So he would have taken Swanson. He definitely would have taken Swanson. He was going shortstop either way. And he went Joe Musgrove. Franmil Reyes, the hitter. A lot of power. And you know what? I don't think he's got a bad batting average. I mean, he batted 275.
Do you think we can wait on him? Do you think we can wait on him and get a
No.
batting average guy and get
Not
like
gonna-
a Jeff McNeil?
Ray, what do you think?
You might be able to wait on. You might be able to wait
I
on.
think we can
Franmil.
wait
on
It's
him.
tough-
Let's-
It's
I-
tough
so
from this
let's
far
wait
from
on
the
him.
middle, but
All right, we'll go Jeff McNeil. There we go. All right, if he goes though, then I'm gonna be upset. No.
No, he will come back around.
All right, but you know what did we need? We
Batting
had
average.
batting average. We had the power. So even though I like Franmil as a little bit better value than McNeil, we needed we just simply needed the batting average there. And McNeil we can slot in either at second or outfield. I will probably use him in second base. I think I'm not sure if we can move it. I think it just does it automatically.
I think it does it for
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
in some software you do. In the app, basically you can choose where. Depends on that. All right, you got Matt Chapman taking Kenley Jansen. So Ray, what do you need? You need a closer if they're available. We're running thin on them. Iglesias taken, Kenley Jansen taken. Are there any other closers that interest you that you would take in round 9, 10?
Yeah. So the next tier is probably. It looks like for me, it's Karinchak, Ryan Presley, and Kirby Yates. Yates has the concern about the elbow. Presley's not the most durable guy either, and Karinchak is sort of the same guy as Edwin Diaz, practically without with the big difference being that they actually haven't, named him the closer, which is an important detail for sure.
Ryan Presley.
But I'm pretty.
Ryan Presley interest you?
Yeah, he's on the list too.
Okay.
He's got some durability concerns like Yates, but he was healthy last year in the short season. There goes Trevor Rosenthal and Jansen ahead of me.
Right.
So clearly there's some disagreement about who the next tier of closers are or what order they go in. Which
Would you touch
fine.
Craig
That's why we
Kimbrell?
play these games.
Would you touch Craig
Nah,
Kimbrell?
I am nowhere near Kimbrel this year. At least not here. Maybe 3 rounds from now.
Right. Okay.
Got a little pitcher run here.
Yeah. Does it pay to get a hitter and a pitcher, or are you going to go straight pitching?
I was thinking straight pitching here. There goes Yates. I've got Max Fried and Zach Wheeler in my queue, and Fried I think just went because he disappeared out of my queue.
You might be able to go closer starter here because get one of those
Yeah,
guys.
that might be the way to go. Correa.
Yeah, you'll get one of your closers.
Why did Fried fall out of my queue? I didn't.
Fried? Don't know. Well, he's in my queue.
Oh no! It flashed. It was Yates that came out of my queue.
Okay.
He
Jesus
moved off,
Luzardo
that's all.
went, so you're gonna have your choice of
So
guys.
it's me. Yeah, so I'm going to take Karinchak for the closer
Yeah.
and Fried for the starter.
Right.
So a pitcher turn.
Yep. No, I like that. You've built up some hitting there, and now you got a little good pitching. You've got Bauer, Lynn, Fried, and you got your set closer. So you're set here. And then you're pretty distributed position-wise, actually very well. You just need some corners, and there's a lot of good corners later. So I like the order. If you corners, you can wait a little bit this year. All right, Ian Anderson went, so there's a nice big pitching run. All right, Ruvain, what are we What are we looking at as we're getting close? Fran Reyes, if he's there, obviously.
I say there's a sleeper pitcher that hasn't been taken yet, and that's the Nelson Lamet, and I really like that at this pick. And then after that,
Ooh.
you can take your Framil Reyes.
Ooh, Lamet. Okay, yeah. We bought actually in the league with you, Ray. We bought Nelson Lamet there. A little bit expensive. But...
Yeah, talk about it some more, Ruben. You're the only you might be the only injury analyst I've heard who actually has some confidence in Lamette this year.
Yeah, I don't see any issues. I mean, he didn't need quote unquote surgery. He had a PRP injection, which supposedly helped him, and he feels better. But that's not to say that after 50 innings he's going to break down again. So it's a matter of him building up his strength, and they're going to play him with kid gloves, make sure that he doesn't hurt himself again. But I think that they're deep enough in starting pitching. They can call up one of their young guys, and they can give Lamette a rest if they need to. So all you need really is to get like 140 innings out of Lamette to get the value anyway.
And you're getting him at a discount here for sure.
Yes.
I mean, the talent is round 5 talent. We're in round 10, right?
Yeah. And, in a shallower league, you can take a little bit more of those gambles.
Sure.
Sure. Because the replacement level is much higher, so might be the right spot. And you would go with him first, Ruven? And
Yes, you go with him first. You go with him first.
All right. Ryan Presley was just taken. He was the top of my queue. I would have maybe thought about him. All right. I guess we can go with Lamet. You want to try it now?
Yes, I go with Lamet here.
All right. Nelson Lamet will be on our team. I'm gonna grab Franmil Reyes if he's available, and he might be. I think people are sleeping a little bit on Franmil. Let's see if Derek Carty is. What do you think Carty's taking here? He took Salvador Perez, the catcher. Interesting. Gary Sanchez, by the way, was just taken by Nando DeFino. All right, Moustakas is grabbed. Franmil Reyes is ours. That was really smart to take McNeil instead of Franmil. And again, folks, this is why you want to look at ADP, not as a be-all, end-all, but because his ADP was a lot lower, we were able to grab Franmil 2 rounds later and get another guy who would not have been available later. So that's how you use ADP, not who you should pick, but a little bit of a clue as to when. All right, so we got now Franmil. We have a nice base. Franmil Reyes, Pete Alonso, Betts, Machado. I like our power base, and Franmil's not an average drain by any means. He's an Adam Dunn in a good year type guy, as opposed to like Joey Gallo, who's an Adam Dunn in a bad year type guy. Charlie Morton just went. Ray, thoughts on Charlie Morton for this year?
I mean, that's a pretty good spot for him moving from Tampa to Atlanta. I like him. I'm a little worried. I get worried about the Braves aren't talked about as much as the Dodgers and the Rays and the Yankees for how they might manage pitching for the playoffs. But I'm a little worried that if the Braves take control of the East, and they've got a little more pressure than like the Dodgers do, but that Morton might be sort of somebody who gets preserved to have some bullets left for October. But otherwise, I fully believe in the skills and the stability he gives.
Yeah. No doubt. All right, coming up to you in a couple of picks. I think you got to go some hitters now. You just had a good pitcher run. I think you're set for a little while. So what hitters are you going to take?
Yeah, like you said, there are some corners available here, which is good because I need them. This is always a checkpoint for me. I don't have a lot of hard and fast rules in my drafts, like we were saying earlier. But one checkpoint that I always like is in round 12. I like to be 8 hitters, 3 starters, and a closer. So I'm at 6-3-1 right now. So this is going to be 2 hitters to get me back to that spot. And so I'm up, and I've got 3 first basemen in my queue. I think the one I want the most is Dom Smith, which is actually another piece of first base outfield eligibility. And then on the third base queue, let's try Brian Hayes is near the top of the queue and a guy I really like.
You weren't interested in Paul Goldschmidt there?
He's gone.
Oh, he's gone already?
That's why he wasn't interested. He was round 7. He was gone.
That would have been a fantastic pick, though.
Yes, it would. Two questions. Are you at all worried about Dom Smith with the playing time because of no LDH?
I mean, he's going to lose some at bats late in games for defensive purposes, I'm sure. I'm also only about, I don't know, pick a number, 85% convinced there's going to be no DH. So, I wouldn't be surprised at a, day before opening day kind of reprieve on that. But yeah, it probably hurts Smith a little bit in terms of his, at bats, leaving games. If you do the math on that, let's see if the Mets are going to win 90 games or have 90 leads after 6, and they, take him out. Probably in a third of those games he will have just gotten it at a bat, so maybe he wouldn't have hit in the bottom of the ninth. It's probably back of the envelope 40 at bats he's missing.
Yeah. Well, my queue is decimated. Verdugo, Colome, Laureano, Josh Bell, Gallo. A lot of my guys are taken here. I have Will Smith, the catcher. I know I don't like taking catchers early, but relative to where the other guys are going, I think Will Smith, a very good power play. A little bit worried about the at-bats. I think he gets hurt more than anybody else, by the way, because of no NLDH. Because his off days, which are going to be extensive, I think he's only going to play half the time. He's going to lose. Ruben, what do you got? Is Will Smith a good play here? I also am looking at Anthony Santander.
Yeah, I know you can go with Will Smith because after him and Yasmani Grandal is like a big drop off, I think, for a catcher. So
Yeah.
this is not a bad
All right.
play here.
Well, Cardi already picked a catcher, so we don't have to pick Will Smith. We'll get him on the way back. Santander, that's what I'm looking at for outfield. Interest you?
Yeah, either Santana or it's Tommy Pham because Tommy Pham can steal some bases also.
All right, I like Santander better. I mean, he got a knife. He literally was stabbed, Tommy Pham, and he says he's 80%. But we'll take Will Smith, and I guarantee you Cardi has not taken double catcher. So we're going to have a really nice catcher. I think a nice discount compared to the rest here.
Okay.
Moustakas went. Yeah.
Another thing, because we have steals early, we don't have to reach for steals either, which is a big thing.
Yep. And Smith will get us a lot of power at catcher here. All right, let's go with Will Smith. Pablo Lopez was taken, and there we go. We're going to have to take some pitching on the way back because we've just had Reyes, Santander, Smith. So a nice base of power. Average is still on the lowish side. That's the only thing I worry about. Anytime you do a draft, there's always going to be one category that's not great. But I'd rather pound power, if any, because that's what's going to play. But we do need pitching, so let's think of pitchers along the way. All right, who are you looking at, Ray? I got Kyle Lewis, Ryan Mountcastle taken. Not a lot of pitchers taken. You're even as to what you think, so you can go either way, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't. This is one spot where I don't have a preconceived notion about what I'm going to do. I could do. I think I know I'm going to do one pitcher. I might do two. There are some second closers I'm watching here. There's a couple of starters I like, especially a couple of the Marlins kids. Pablo Lopez and Sandy Alcantara are two of my favorites. If it's closer, there's Nick Anderson. There's the other Will Smith from the Braves. Rafael Montero in Seattle. You guys talked about Tommy Pham. That's a possible play here. Will Myers too. Ian Happ. So I've got a pretty big queue. We're going to see what happens in these 4 picks here. I think it'll be one pitcher for sure.
Well, Pablo Lopez is already off the board, so that's one off already. And there goes Sandy Alcantara, so that's 2.
So much for my excitement about the Marlins. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I've got 3 starters already, so I'm probably going to let this starter go. Maybe I'll get the second closer here and throw a bat in with it. There goes Will Myers. So what were you saying about queues getting decimated? This is the downside of building a queue too early. You guys go off and do your picks, and I click on 10 names, and then magically 8 or 9 of them are gone by the time it's actually my pick.
Yeah. All right, Dylan Carlson went. Eric Hosmer, he was interesting at this point for run production. Marco Gonzalez went.
Is this early for Marco Gonzalez?
No. He goes deep into games, gets you wins. Trey Mancini off the board. I wish him the best this year. All right, it'll be up to you in just a couple of seconds. And you're off. Yeah, a lot of choices. Rafael Montero went.
Yeah, so that was one of the closers I was talking about. I'm going to take Tommy Pham. You guys talked about him. He's an average, bit of a more average in steals play, but I sort of addressed the pure power, so I'll throw him in for a more well-rounded mix. And let's see, I'm going to try the other Will Smith as my second closer. So there we'll do Pham and Smith here.
There you go. Well, I was hoping Will Smith came to me because we have Will Smith the batter, and then we would have had Will Smith the pitcher. I believe Ron Chandler took both of them in our labor league, by the way.
I ended up by my TGFBI. I got both of them. In fact, I did them on the same turn. So it was a Will Smith turn just to corner the market on Will Smith.
I have them both in TGFBI also somehow. I got them both also.
Ruben, any closers to look out for to snag here, or what are the starters we're looking at?
I think starters. Julio Urias is out there now. He's not necessarily going to be guaranteed a starting spot, but I think he's a guy that puts up big numbers. And I think is Zach Wheeler still available?
No.
He's
Wheeler,
off the
No,
board
he's
already.
not.
round 10.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he's gone already. Okay. See, I'm still doing paper and pen. Just because everyone's using a computer, I still use the paper and pen, so I may fall behind a little bit with this kind of stuff. But
Well, good.
pitchers, Corey Kluber. Corey Kluber is very interesting, and I think he's a guy you can get.
Would you rather him or Urquidy?
I like Kluber better. Urquidy hasn't really pitched that many innings in his career. I know Kluber's coming off of an injury, but he seems healthy, and he's on the Yankees, so he'll get you a lot of wins.
All right. Well, we can go both of them, maybe. We'll see about that. All right. We'll take your Corey Kluber and we'll try that, and then we'll try to snag that. Any other?
Oh
Just
well,
in
we
case?
can't take Corey.
Goodbye, Kluber. He's done. All right. So we need another player here in our fast. Who are you looking at? Any closers still on the board?
Closers. I mean, Devin Williams is not a closer, but his value is up there, and I like that a lot.
No. All right. Let's take a look. It's gonna be Urquidy for us here, because that's whoever's left in my queue. Anybody else on the way back? Got to pick somebody. Soroka, is it too early for him?
No. Well, you can go with Frankie Montes. You can go with staying out in Oakland there, and he's looked good this spring so far. So yeah, Urquidy
Montas?
just went. We got
Yeah.
Urquidy.
I got Urquidy, yeah. All right, Montas is interesting. Anyone else?
You want to gamble on Zach Eflin again this year?
Not at this point, no.
No.
Taylor Rogers, Colme went, nah, you can do Rogers. How about Bassett, Chris Bassett? Any interest?
Well, or why not go with a hitter? Why not go with Michael Brantley here?
For the average. That's a good
For the
idea.
average.
All right, let's go Brantley then for the batting average and the outfielder. And that solidifies our outfield there. Okay. So we got Urquidy, Brantley, and then we'll pick up probably another pitcher next time. Okay, Ray, let's see what you got here. Well, you got your closer and a half. What do you think, Will Smith? You think he's going to get the line? Are they going to split it, or are they going to just announce somebody?
I'm pretty confident it's going to be Smith. I've collected a lot of him. That's not to say I'm so confident that I'm not going to find a chance to get Chris Martin down in the last couple of rounds here if the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly confident it's going to be Will Smith.
Jared Kelenic just went. Now, with Will Smith, there's a lot of lefties in that bullpen, I believe, in the Atlanta bullpen.
Yeah, which actually I think works to his advantage because if there's a need to get a left-handed hitter out in the seventh inning, they've got A.J. Minter to do that.
Yeah, they need Chris Martin. They need a right-handed specialist almost for seventh, eighth inning.
Yeah, exactly. When they need a righty in the seventh, they're going to use Martin, and then there's no one else. There's no other righty that turns to in the ninth.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
What a great thing, but I believe that actually helps the situation. All right, 3 picks to you. Frankie Montas just went to Pierre Camus. Who do you thinking of?
Yeah, I'm looking for at least one starting pitcher here, maybe two. This is a spot where it turns out I actually kind of like what's available. I'm going to be up next here, and Rodriguez is going to be one of them. He's one guy who I think is almost criminally undervalued this spring. I know why it happened, where there was so many questions about his offseason and coming back from the myocarditis last year, but I have not seen his ADP rising at all, even though he showed up in camp healthy, and I think yesterday threw 4 innings and is clearly going to be ready to go. So I'm jumping on that for sure.
Yeah, all right.
And for my second one, I was looking at Eflin, who I know Ruben mentioned a couple of minutes ago.
Yep.
I'm actually going to try. I think, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'll take Eflin. I was going to say Michael Pineda too, but I've got those guys very close, so I'll try Eflin.
Sounds good. What do you make of the Philadelphia closing situation? Archie Bradley versus Hector Neris.
I think that's a quagmire. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I have enough. It's one of those cases where I'm not even sure. I've collected a fair amount of Neris, but I'm not even sure that I care who gets named the closer because it's not one of these cases where I think that whoever gets named is magically just going to hold a job all year. I think they're probably both going to struggle at times and ping pong the job back and forth. And I don't think I want to ride that roller coaster.
Right. Okay. We talked about that on the show, but yeah, I mean, Neris has been the guy for a while, so it's hard to, it's usually the closer until he isn't. What do you make of the whole Detroit situation? There's any one of 4 guys could possibly be the one. It's a terrible situation, but do you have a favorite in the Detroit bullpen?
Yeah, I'm on the Joe Jimenez bandwagon there. He got deposed from that job really early last summer, but kind of quietly after they relegated him to middle relief, he completely straightened himself out in September. He had like 12 innings of one-run ball with 13 strikeouts, and I don't really like the skills of anybody else in that pen. So I'm sort of figuring that it may not be right away, but I think Detroit's going to eventually default back to him.
Yeah. All right, up to us. I'm looking at Miguel Sano, Ramiel Tapia, who gives us the average in steals. Randall Grichuk, probably too early for him, and who knows what they're going to do there. There's David Fletcher, who's might also fit our roster, Ruvain, and Joaquim Soria, Archie Bradley. We can go with that. Any thoughts?
I think we need another starter at this point, and we're up on the clock already here. Because Chris Bassett went, and a lot of the starters went. There was a closer on before. I think we can go starter closer possibly here.
I think I'd rather have the bat. Tapia, and any interest in him? Too early, or Soria?
We
closer.
Don't
You want to go Soria? Soria.
Go with the closer. Go with the closer instead.
All right, we'll go with Soria. What starting pitcher you're interested in?
Urias, I think, is still there. You can go with
Luis Urias. No, I'm sorry.
Julio Urias.
No, he's not available.
Herman Marquez.
Yes. You know why I like Herman Marquez? Because he pitches he has one of the highest innings per start. And today, you want to get wins. It's just about lasting in the game. Love it. I think he had either the second or third highest number of innings last year, by the way, after Lance Lynn. All right, it's up to us. Yeah, let's go Herman Marquez. Good thought. All right. Now we've built up a nice rotation of Castillo, Snell, Lamet, Urquidy, Marquez, perfectly fine for a 12-teamer. And we got the closer, Soria and Diaz. Richard Rodriguez just went. You prefer Soria or Richard Rodriguez, Ray?
I think I prefer Soria, actually.
Okay.
I don't see I don't see a lot of competition for either guy in either bullpen. I think they're both going to be the lead and not get pushed out of the role, but Rodriguez has more trade risk.
Right, that is true. In general, is it better to draft a certain closer on a bad team or uncertain situation on a good team?
Team context doesn't matter that much to me as long as you're as long as you're above the minimum floor. Pittsburgh might be that bad this year that they're below the minimum floor. Pittsburgh and Baltimore probably are at risk for that. Anybody else, as long as they're going to win 65, 70 games, there should be enough save ops to go around.
Right. All right, coming closer to your turn. Oh, TJ Antone taken. Quickly, TJ Antone, is he the closer in Cincinnati?
I don't think so, although now that Amir Garrett is having arm problems on top of Lucas Sims having arm problems on top of everything else that's going wrong in that bullpen, It may default to that by the end of the month, the way things are going.
Yep. Okay, close to you?
Close to me, I've got Ha-Sung Kim in my queue as a possible middle infielder, but I've got to pay attention to the way the roster's laid out here because that's got Brandon Lau in the outfield still. I think I'd rather get an outfielder here, so I'm going to go look for some power. I just saw Kyle Schwarber go, who would have been a nice fit. Jesse Winker's a good fit. I'm going to take him as an outfielder, and then I need a corner as I continue to build up the base of offense here. So
Dominic Smith can be used in each. You can use him as outfielder.
That's right. You're right. So I could take yet another outfielder. You know what? I'll take Mac now. Who do I like at the corner? As much as Max Kepler, I got 10 seconds here. I'll take Miguel Sano. We'll take a little batting average risk for giant power there.
I don't think it's a batting average risk. I think we know that he's not going to be a good batting average guy.
Yes. Batting average downside, but I'm not running the actual calculations here, but I suspect I've got enough foundation to absorb that.
Yeah, and the thing is with these low batting average guys like Gallo, they talk about batting average risk. I mean, there's no batting average risk for Joey Gallo. I'm projecting him at a 210 average. Like, what do you think it's going to go to? If it's going to go to 180, it's not going to play. There's not a risk there. If you're projecting him and you're doing the values and you're pegging in 210, that's the value. You're lucky if it goes higher, and you'll get actually more value. But if he's a bargain at a 210 average, there's no batting average risk. It's priced in already.
Well, sure. If you're projecting him at 210, sure. You're right. If he goes lower
Yeah.
than that, he won't play. But for instance, my Gallup projection is 237.
Oh, okay.
Which there probably is some downside from that.
Yes.
But there's also upside from there. He could hit anywhere between a 237 hitter could hit anywhere between 210 and 250.
Right. So for you, whatever your value, you're going to value Gallo a lot higher, but then you have batting average risk. I'm valuing Gallo wherever he is. There's no batting average risk. I'm just pricing it in already. It's very, very interesting there. Okay, Ruvain, your thoughts so far on the draft here?
I think it's going the way we would like it. I mean, I don't see us reaching for anything yet. I think we're on par for everything, and I think we're actually going to go hitter here in the next turn.
Yeah, Andrew Benintendi available. Max Kepler. So Max Kepler might bat leadoff and might score a lot of runs in the Twins. I kind of like that. I think he's going to get a lot of playing time. David Fletcher, good middle infielder, batting average. That's also a decent thing. We've got enough power here, so those are my options I'm looking at.
Ian Happ is also supposed to, I think, bat lead off in Chicago, and he's also still available.
Yeah. No, he's not. He was taken, I think. I have a J.A. Happ, but yeah, I think Ian Happ is.
Yeah, Happ was in my queue at one point, and he disappeared, so he must be gone.
Yeah. Anybody batting leadoff is a good bet here. Now, it looks like Cardi has more middle infielders, so I can wait on David Fletcher. I think I'm going to go Benintendi first right here. I think round 18 is a good bet on a new team. What do you think?
I think it's worth a shot in this late.
Let's give it a shot. Here we go, Benintendi. All right, and I'm going to pick up David Fletcher on the way back, who fits our profile well, and I have him actually valued pretty high, decently high here. Again, it's game theory here. I took him because I see that Cardi is filled up. He's got Bichette, he's got Semien, he's got Segura, Moustakas, whom he might even use in that spot. Look at that. Max Kepler taken, so we did have to take an outfielder by him. And Jake Odorizzi taken. Interesting there. I'm going to go David Fletcher, and we get some batting average now with him.
And roster flexibility as well.
And roster flexibility. This way we have McNeil, and we can either take a shortstop or middle infield or a second baseman next time. Doesn't matter. What do you think of Benintendi, Ray, this year? Is this a good gamble in the 18th round, or he's just going to fall off the face of the earth?
I don't have a strong feel for the degree of the rebound, but you don't need much of a rebound at all in round 18.
Right.
This is a guy who has returned $25 sixth round kind of return before, and you're getting him at a massive discount, kind of like the earlier conversation. There's no risk here. The 12-teamer, if he's bad early, you just drop him. But you may get somebody who returns 10 rounds worth of profit for you.
Right. And that fills up. He's our fifth outfielder, so I'm pretty happy with that. Franmil Reyes is our utility. We're just missing a corner, by the way. Ruvain, we can fill him up with some cheap spots, and we'll go there. All right, coming back to you, Archie Bradley just taken. That's pretty good price for Archie Bradley, by the way, in the 19th round, I think.
Yeah, that is. Neris hasn't gone yet, has he? I'll be curious to see if he tries a handcuff here.
Not a bad plan. That'll be Clay Link having that. Yeah, at this point, that it's a good handcuff, because that's a situation that I think whoever is the guy, as opposed to like Tampa Bay where there's no guy. It's just everyone's gonna get 10 saves. The ball boy's gonna get 2 saves. That kind of situation.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to go through 10 guys there. They might go through 2 or 3, but it's not going to be 10.
Up to you.
All right, I'm going to grab for my last outfielder Mitch Haniger.
Nice.
Seems to be healthy, and I think is another guy sort of like Eduardo Rodriguez, who isn't climbing the ADP as fast as he should. And then let's see. You were talking. You were talking about waiting on catchers. We could wait all night on catchers in this draft, but I've got sort of a favorite hobby horse this year, so I'm going to grab Mitch Garver here.
All right. There we go. I mean, Garver's got to have a rebound. I mean, after just a brilliant 2019, last year he wasn't good. The only thing I worry about Garver is he's not going to get that many at-bats relative to some of the other more higher-up catchers. He's going to have a complete share. Like, he'll be 50-50 at best. Is Astudillo going to catch it all?
He might. I'm actually not as convinced that, it might be a problem early in the season, but if there's a logjam there and Garver is hitting, Ryan Jeffers acquitted himself well last year, and he's certainly the catcher of the future there. But once the minor league season actually starts in May, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they send Jeffers down to get some work and leave the job to Garber 75% and Astudillo 25% for the bulk of the season.
Yeah. All right, Ruvain, I think we need a corner and a pitcher. The options for corners are Eduardo Escobar. Yuli Gurriel might fit our team well. Bobby Dahlbeck, huge power. Heimer Candelari, a little bit deeper. Kyle Seager with some power. And Rowdy Tellez. I kind of like Rowdy Tellez as upside at this point. What the heck?
I have a lot of shares of Bobby Dahlbeck already. His power in spring training, a lot of times it doesn't translate, but he also hit for power at the end of last year. So I'm kind of high on him. Yes, they're going to bat him pretty low in the order, but you know what? That's less pressure on him. And that lineup's actually going to be pretty good. So I think he's going to get a good shot at it. And I'm really... of all the corners you mentioned, I like him the best. I'm a little nervous about Yuli Gurriel. He's getting older. He's not a young guy anymore. That lineup isn't what it used to be, so I'm a little concerned about that.
Better than Rowdy Tellez?
Rowdy Tellez is a matter of playing time. There's so many outfielders there. There's only one DH spot. So
Okay.
Again, it's a matter of playing time. And I think Bobby Dahlbeck will get more playing time, and he'll get a bit more stats.
All right, we'll go with Dahlbeck. Pitcher, there's James Paxton might be a good upside play here. We could also go with the closer, Matt Barnes or Anthony Bass, who we just had on the show Monday night. I think he pretty much said that he said he's the high leverage guy. He's there to get the best guys out. To me, that translates into a lot of saves.
Yeah, I think you go closer first, if anything, because the closer may be taken.
Yeah, we're up to us. Do you want to go with Bass or Matt Barnes?
I'd say probably go with Bass.
How come we not? We just had him on the show on Monday. It's a mock draft. You can't pass that up, right?
Correct.
That's the way to pick Ray, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. In a mock for sure. But no, I would go with him anyways. And we'll do Dahlbeck on the way back, unless Cardi. No, Cardi went Pomerantz Votto. Votto has COVID, but doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, no, it shouldn't matter.
Okay. So we're going to go Dahlbeck. We're in round 21, by the way. There are 22 regular spots, and then there's 6 bench spots. So we're moving here. We've been drafting for just under an hour, so probably another 10, 15 minutes at the most here. All right, a couple first basemen there. Dahlbeck, Votto. Our offense is done in terms of regular starters. We can then work on bench. We also have one more pitching spot. Our closers are Soria, Bass, and Edwin Diaz. So we don't need a closer, 12-team. I can always go with a fourth. That never a bad thing. Maybe the Rockies closer in the very end to cement it. You never know. And then just some bench guys. And starters. You need starters. There's never enough starters to go. All right, Ray. Half the round coming up to you. What do you need? It looks like you need a pitcher. You haven't taken a pitcher in 4 rounds.
Yeah, both of my last 2 spots in the starting roster are pitchers, so I'll probably just stay. I don't have to get them here, but I'll probably just pick off both pitchers and be done with that. I will. I could share that after while you guys were picking there, I got not one but 2 DMs from Vlad Sedler and Eric Cross, respectively, complaining about the Mitch Haniger pick. Vlad in particular said he let Haniger go through my turn because he looked at my roster and thought I was full of outfielders, but didn't notice the Brandon Lau flexibility. So there's some bitterness in the draft room right now.
We got a message from Eric Cross. Says Ariel no. What was that referring to? The Dahlbeck pick? I don't even know.
I'm looking at the timestamp and trying to see. Yeah, it must have been.
I guess. All right. Cross is picking at the very end of the draft, so close to you. So it's hard to snipe somebody all the way around, but.
Yeah, that's too much of a point.
Maybe. All right. And I'm not a prospect guy, but all right, we've recommended him, and we needed that spot, and that's fine. Yuli Gurriel, by the way, is still available. We can take him to shore up the first base position next. You can do that. All right, up to you in one more pick. Nate Pearson gone. Pearson will start the year on the IL, but if there again, he's a guy that if you have an IL, worth a lot more. If you have an NFBC pick, probably she should be available close to the beginning. Any update on Pearson, Ruvain?
He's throwing from 120 feet, but otherwise no update besides that. He's not pitching ready yet.
Okay. Well, it's up to you, Ray. 2 picks.
All right, I just took Taylor Rogers as my third reliever. Maybe you have a share of the closer job there and good ratios. And I need another starter. I'm going to go with Brady Singer.
Okay. There you go, Rogers and Singer.
And through 22 rounds, I have filled all 22 of my starting spots, so now it's just a question of, looks like we get 6 bench spots here.
Wander Franco just went. What do you think about taking prospects at this stage in the draft?
I mean, I personally, I don't know if we're going to see Franco before September. I know he's getting taken. I almost, even despite the difference in the cost, I almost prefer the pick of Kelnick up in round 10 or whatever it
Round
was
15,
because I'm
yeah.
pretty confident he's going to be up after a month or whatever, but you might be carrying Franco until September. Maybe I'm just low on him.
Yeah. The Rays can do anything. I mean, did they took one of the lefty only batter and batted him right-handed in a switch hitting situation? What's his name?
Tampa.
Ji-Man Choi. Choi. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
They never batted righty before. They decided to bat him righty in a situation. Weird.
He said he's not going to do that this year, by the way.
All right. Gonna be up to us. I think we should do a corner. We got Eduardo Escobar, Yuli Gurriel, Kyle Seager. There's also Alex Dickerson, and Corey Dickerson is the highest guy on my draft board. I think I would go with Corey Dickerson. A decent average. We could use a little bit shoring up in the outfield. Maybe Corey Dickerson is the way to go.
Yeah, I think so.
Should we go Dickerson, just for the fun of it? Alex Dickerson, Corey Dickerson?
That would be very weird, but we could do that.
Okay. Don't need a closer right now. Any pitchers come to mind? Oh, James Paxton's still there. I can't let that slip.
I just clicked his star, Ariel.
Yeah. All right, Paxton.
And Kyle Seager just went, so Paxton's the guy to go here.
Yeah,
and then
Paxton's the guy.
that shores up your pitching. You're good.
Yeah. All right, so pick a Dickerson. Corey Dickerson is more valued for me.
Yes, Corey Dickerson bats better and has a better spot in the lineup also.
All right, we'll do that. Freddie Peralta, Chris Sale went. We're going to do that. We'll get the corner of the way back. One of my corners that I just mentioned will be back, so we'll go outfielder here. So we went starting pitcher, outfielder for our first 2 reserve rounds. Only 5 rounds to go, so we're moving here, and we're into the 23rd.
Chris Sale was just taken. This is interesting. Who do you think will play in the majors first this year, Wander Franco or Chris Sale?
Ooh.
Oh, I'll take Sale on that bet, I think.
You think so? He's had already one setback.
No, I'm going to go Franco on that because of injury.
But that's an interesting thought right there.
I heard you talking a little bit about this array at first pitch, but how do you value a guy like Chris Sale? Because all the projection systems, including my own, have him at 80, 90 innings. I don't think he's getting 80, 90 innings this year.
Yeah, that's about where we have him too. And if you compare him to Lamet from the conversation earlier, Lamet gives you immediate value, and if he blows up, you just replace him. But your Sale is the reverse; it costs you the roster spot until he comes back. You sort of have to pay the penalty up front before you get whatever the benefits are. I haven't gone there at all yet this year.
Yeah, actually, we talked about that on the panel that you moderated at first pitch. That it's one is a front-loaded risk, one's a back-loaded risk, and I think I'd rather have Lamet easily Lamet over Sale, but Sale worries me, especially in we have limited IL or limited bench. It's just you got to carry the guy all year long, and it's very possible he doesn't pitch at all. It's a possibility, a real one.
Yeah, it's a good point. We don't, since this is the mock draft, we don't necessarily know what the retain all year rules are. But if there was an IL spot, totally different story. Then it's
right.
just a free pick and stash until he's available versus like the NFBC or TGFBI rule where he chews up the reserve spot.
It's almost up to you. A quick comment as you're picking, but there are some leagues. I know RTS runs some that are draft champions where you can't change your roster the entire whatever you pick in your first 23 guys. That's the roster. There's no subs. There's no bench. That's the roster. In that kind of league, Chris Sale is worth 0, I think.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Why would you play with, I don't care what happens. If you're playing for 3 or 4 months with 22 against 23, it's not going to go well for you.
All right, take us through your last 2 picks that you just made.
Yeah, so I just grabbed Josh Lindblom as another pitcher who I like just to sort of give me, I guess that's a 7th starter for the rotation. And Jake Cronenworth just basically for max flexibility. He's got first base, second base, shortstop eligibility, and combine that with Wow and Dom Smith, and I think I can cover every position on my team.
Right. You're worried at all about Cronenworth's playing time? You got Profar, you got Kim. You worried Tatis? You worried about him?
Yeah, a little bit, but that's why he's still here in round 24, right?
That's true. The cost, the investment cost here is low, so you'll get a good return. But yeah, I think he's being overdrafted this year, especially in deeper leagues where you need the at bats. And no question he has that power speed combo, but I question the things. All right, Ruvain, who are the options to look at here?
Here, I think we're looking at getting an outfielder. I'm looking at the outfield, and it's getting kind of it's getting thin here. So I think at this point you have to look where they're going to be batting. I know it's a little bit lower down, but Brandon Nimmo is set to lead off for that Mets lineup. That's not a bad pick here to get a lot of runs because he gets on base a lot.
Yeah, better in an on-base league also. You don't like Alex Dickerson better?
Alex Dickerson, that lineup is not as good, and he's so injury prone. I did pick him in the TGFBI, but he's injury prone. So
Okay, and also I'd like to get a corner as well. All right, you want to try a Nimmo here? We were up to the spot.
yes.
All right, we'll go with your Nimmo, and we'll go with a corner on the way back, and then we'll do pitching next time. Nimmo, we got Eduardo Escobar. I like Eduardo Escobar, but him or Yuli. You're worried of Yuli, and there's Rowdy Tellez.
I like Escobar better. We have him
Okay.
valued higher, and I think he's gonna have a bounce back season.
Yeah, again, this is the bench spot here, so I'm good with having him as the bench just to get those counting stats, the runs and RBIs. It's so undervalued, the runs and RBIs there. Noah Syndergaard taken, so it looks like
Unless you want to go Paxton here if he's still available.
James Paxton's on our team.
Oh,
already.
he's on our team already. Okay, so you can't pick him already. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we can't pick him anymore. He's on our
You
team.
can only have one of him.
Yeah.
Tell that to Will Smith.
Jose Ramirez. There's actually another Jose Ramirez in baseball. Or how about Rugnet Odor? Do you know that Rugnet Odor's brother's name is Rugnet Odor?
And
That's like the George Foreman kids, right?
Yeah, and he was also in the Texas Rangers organization at the same time he was in, so it was kind of crazy. All right, so Matthew Boyd, Noah Syndergaard goes to Derek Carty, and he had Chris Sale also. So
Matthew Carty has 4 straight pitchers: Peralta, Sale, Boyd, and Syndergaard. That's interesting.
Carty tends to go pitcher very late. He likes doing the fill-in of streaming, which is not a bad idea. And we should do a couple more pitchers. I think our bench is filled with Dickerson, Nimmo, Escobar, and we have Fletcher for flexibility. We probably could use another middle infielder though, just to round up the team. And there we go. Up to you. We got Fairbanks, Andrus, Adele Ottavino, Alex Reyes, David Peralta, Kike Hernandez. Coming to you in a pick or so. Ray, who are you looking at?
I'm actually going to take a little bit of the strategy that you were not espousing in the intro here. I'm going to collect a couple of relievers. Not quite pure save speculations, though. There's a little bit more of a method to my madness. I mentioned earlier when I took Will Smith that I wanted the Chris Martin handcuff, so I'm going to grab that.
Okay.
Just in case I got the closer read in Atlanta wrong for opening day, even though we went through the logic there. And the other one I'm going to take is Trevor May, and that's not even so much a saves play as much as a giant strikeout ratio protection guy who as we were talking about earlier, with starting pitchers starting out slow for the first week or even couple of weeks, I may get more mileage out of him than some of my back end starters.
Right. Yeah. I guess I was too hard on the people who took those relievers, but Chris Martin is hardly that. I mean, that's the handcuff. In TGFBI, I have Will Smith, and I was just about to take Martin for the handcuff. I was sniped, but to me that guarantees you 100% chances of the saves if they decide to give it to one guy. So that is a good thing. Are you worried about Edwin Diaz losing control, not being able to handle New York at all? Any doubt in your mind?
It's funny. I've had that conversation because I have Mets fan friends who worry about that a lot. I'm not generally moved by that narrative. I think he'll be okay, but my more neurotic Met fan friends who are emotionally invested in this situation are definitely worried about that.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that, by the way. Okay, Ruvain, pitchers, who are we looking at here as our possibles?
Interesting. A lot of pitchers are going off the board last round. This round has been kind of slow, which has actually been good for us. You mentioned Eduardo Rodriguez. Has he been taken yet? I don't think he has.
Yeah, I know who took him.
Yeah, this guy did.
So he's gone. What about Christian Javier?
I think he's still available, yeah.
I think Christian
No, he's
Javier.
not, actually. I see him in round 22 right now.
He's not now available.
Oh, boy. Okay, then we're really running low here. Any interest in picking Chris Archer?
No. Not in this 12-team league. I did take him in labor. I don't know if you noticed that.
Okay,
Ray.
what about
I
what
default.
about Taiwan Walker?
Taiwan Walker's interesting. I'm going to go Daniel Bard first. I think he's going to be the closer in Colorado. What the hell? Late.
Get another
and
closer?
We're not.
Sure.
We're talking about the number 1 guy, not the number 3 guy. So we're going to go Bard for our 4th closer. Taiwan Walker's interesting. He looked really good so far in spring training. In the first start he had. Last year he was phenomenal. I think he just gets better this year. He's definitely going to get the full rotation, and we'll go. Yuli Gurley just taken AJ Puck. Let's go with Taiwan Walker for there. And 1 round left for me. Got you 2 more picks for you, Ray. We're almost done. This is pretty fast today.
Yeah, this has been crisp.
Yeah. And you know what? In a mock draft, that's what you want. It's just you're just here to see how the flow of things go. And then I guess we'll stay on for another 5-10 minutes just to recap our teams and to say whether we got our strategies and what we liked, didn't do well, that kind of thing. As we go there, Rowdy Tellez just went, so bottom people here. All right, who you have a lot of relievers. Sorry, you've got a lot of pitchers on your bench. I think you got 4 spots pitchers. Sorry, 3 out of the guys on your bench are pitchers. What are you looking for here?
Yeah, I'm going to grab one more bat just for bat with a little bit of balance on the bench. I like to have a pitcher-heavy bench, but it doesn't need to be 5 out of 6. I think 4 out of 6 here will be enough. So I've got Randall Grichuk in the queue.
Yep.
We just saw Tellez go, which tells me it's Randall Grichuk time too.
There you go.
Those are the 2 guys who are sort of fighting for scrap at bats in Toronto. And if I'm adding another starter, since my reliever pile is filled, I'm looking at Justice Sheffield right now. We'll see if he falls through.
Yep.
What's your feel? Do you think Justin Sheffield would be better than Justin Dunn this year, or do you think they're comparable?
I think they're pretty comparable. I liked a lot of what I saw in Sheffield the second half of last year. He had a bad outing yesterday, though, but it's a little too early to get worried about that. But if I see another bad outing or 2, ask me again in a week, and I might change my mind.
Yeah. All right, almost up to you. Sam Hilliard went. Logan Gilbert getting to the scraps of the 12-teamer.
And this is going pretty fast. Doing paper and pen. This is paper and this is very hard to keep up with. Very hard. So it's better to use a computer or 2 people. That helps a lot too.
2 people definitely helps a lot.
Yes.
All right, I got my Grichuk in Sheffield, so I am done.
There you go. Nice job. All right. 1 more guy to go. Cole Calhoun is sitting there.
I was going to say Cole Calhoun. I think he's only going to miss like the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, and there's really no one who can secure the outfield job there. So I think I like him.
John Birdie qualifies at second, and outfield can give you an instant boom in stolen bases. That's interesting for this format. As your last pick, Kiner Falefa maybe he'll give you middle infield and corner eligibility. Any pitchers of interest before we pick Calhoun?
At this point, not really. I've heard a lot of good news and good stuff out of Miami for Trevor Rogers, but I think he's more of a waiver guy anyway.
Yeah. All right. I think we'll go there. It's almost up. Brian Reynolds, Hunter Renfroe, Oscar Mercado, Willie Adames went. Spencer Howard went. Howard, I believe, will not start the year in the rotation. Lucas Sims went. Getting there. 2 more picks to us. This should go really fast.
Lucas Sims is in that battle there for possible closer as well in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and Amir Garrett is not 100%, so he might go, as we said earlier today. Jorge Alfaro just went. Some people are picking their catcher last round. That was the last catcher taken. So good value for Alfaro there because he waited to literally his last pick. That was Nando DeFino who did that.
And this is, this goes very quickly, and you have to stay on your toes. You have to know your guys, otherwise you're going to miss out on these guys.
Yeah, J.A. Happ went. All right, Cole Calhoun is going to be ours. We'll go with him.
Yes.
And that will end our draft. Let's see what Cardi does, and then we'll recap our draft for everybody. Justin Upton, the last guy. Okay. All right, Ray, why don't you go first? Tell us how your team is, what you did right, what you did wrong, best pick, worst pick, things like that.
Yeah, I've been doing 15-teamers all winter, so this feels really good by comparison, right?
Yeah.
I bet you everybody's draft board would feel pretty good. But I basically built this the way I like to. I got that broad base of offense early. I wasn't, ahead of the game on starting pitchers, getting my first starting pitchers in rounds 2, 6, and 10. Karinchak is, in round 9 for my closer. 1 is probably as early as I've gone on a closer this year. I just have not been buying the top tier. So, that leaves me with, 7 other bats. I got my 8 bats in 12 rounds, which is where I like to be. I don't love the end game. Haniger's a nice little injury outside play. Garver's a rebound candidate, but with Winker, Sano, Pham, Grichuk, that might be a little more, as a group, conservative than I'd like to be in a 12-teamer. I think in the 12-teamer, you always want to end up taking the bigger swings and just cut the guys if they don't work out. So this might have been a little. This is pretty well constructed for how I like it, but it might be a little conservative.
Okay, but best and worst picks of the lot?
I'm going to take Eduardo Rodriguez in 15 as my best pick, and if I could have one back, I would say it's probably Dom Smith, just for the DH concern we were talking about.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think it was probably too early. Maybe there's a case for Ozzy Albies that maybe you could have taken because you did get Lau, so maybe the case.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Maybe
if I knew I was going to have Lau and Biggio and those kind of guys to look at in 6,
right,
then maybe I do something different than Albies in 4. That's
right, and it might come from the fact that you've been doing a lot of 15-teamers, that you're more used to that dynamic, and they go. The second baseman went a little bit later than they usually do. Because of the way it is here in there. Ruvain, any other thoughts on Ray's team here?
I think he did a pretty good job. I think he left. He has a lot of the upside relievers late in the draft, which is good, and a lot of them actually have a path to close or to get good quality innings out of them. So I actually like that, and the group you mentioned, Winker, Sano, Haniger, Garver, that whole group right there, that's not bad. That is workable, and that's all you want in the 12 team. You want workable because it's shallow, and you can always throw a guy out if you really need to. You're not sold on these guys because there's a lot of room on Fab to pick up people.
Yeah, I think your best 3 rounds were 18, 19, 20. Sano, Haniger, Garver. I think that's a nice, very, very good value play there. All right, on to our team here. Betts, Machado, Castillo. I like the start here. I like the Betts, Machado, Castillo, Alonso, and Snell. And I like Grisham in that spot. It's funny, I had no interest in getting Grisham before I started the draft season, and I have him on a couple of teams. Just he's been falling. And you have to overpay for stolen bases in many leagues. I found that Grisham is actually available somewhere around where he should go. I'm surprised by him. I like the closer situation we have. We got Diaz, Soria, Bass, and a late stab at Daniel Bard in a 12-team league for supposed number 1 closers is a great spot. I wouldn't play Bard the first week, but I'd probably hang on to him. The pitching staff is decent. Lamet is obviously the biggest question mark on our team, but value if he stays. Ruvain, best and worst picks you think we made?
I think the best pick is in round 15, Michael Brantley. He's like a batting average stabilizer. You can pick up these low batting average, high home run guys off the waiver wire. And I don't like where we got Joaquin Soria. I think we could have waited another round or 2 to get him. And even David Fletcher. I think I probably would have taken a starting pitcher there instead, because if you look at the 2 rounds after that, a lot of pitchers went, so we probably could have bulked up. And David Fletcher may have fallen a little bit more.
That's
a good round point. 19.
Good point. I like the Paxton pick. Round 22. I mean, this guy has, top 25 stuff. If healthy. We don't know that he's going to be healthy for a whole season. Any thoughts on our team, Ray?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the Paxton pick. I like the Brantley pick, too. If I've got a quibble here, I wonder if he ended up with enough power, just eyeballing it, seeing, McNeil, Brantley, Benintendi, Fletcher. That's 4, neutral to minus guys in terms of the power targets in this league, and I'm not. You may want to have one less of those guys and one more of the low batting average, high power boppers. I'm not sure, but that's probably a pretty easy flip to make on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I think we overcorrected. If you remember, very early we were like, well, where's the batting average? Well, we might have overdone the batting average. And you're right. Maybe we.
Yeah, you might have had that problem solved by the time you got McNeil and then Brantley.
Yeah.
And then Fletcher and Benintendi might have been the overcorrection.
Yeah. And of course the thing there is that it's more of an unbalanced categorical risk team because now you've got some more batting average only guys, some more power only guys. You want to be a little bit more well-rounded. We have a little bit more categorical risk than I'd like. Seems like a decent value, but yeah, maybe we overcorrected a little bit. But you know what? If you're going to overcorrect in any category, overcorrecting in batting average is probably the way you want to go because on the waiver wire, you're going to get these low batting average, high homer guys.
Totally.
So
yeah, you'll be able to collect the 240, 25 home run guys all season long.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And well, that's why the Bobby Dalbec pick and the Cole Calhoun at the very end, those guys can hit 25, 30 home runs each, easy. And that's power there also, and we got them very late.
Yeah. All right. According to Fantasy Pros, Derek Hardy is the best team here. He is actually nicely ahead of us. We are the second best team according to this. Ray, you finished 7th here. Of course, these are according to Fantasy Pros, and these aren't exactly what's going to happen. That's why you play the whole season. But everyone's pretty much in the same.
Or in this case, we don't. So that's the final word.
That's true. This is the final word. So that's it. Cardi wins. Cardi is, by these projections, a step ahead of everybody. Most everybody is close in the pack. Clay Link and Nando Defino, very low according to this. Very possible because maybe they took some injury guys or some prospects. Guys like Jared Kelenic is probably not. Does not have a lot of projected playing time by projections, but we know he's going to play, so people are going to, in terms of projections, everyone's low on him, so he's going to come up. That's probably something that people should correct right away. If you're using projections or doing your own, you should probably over-project some of these guys like Andrew Vaughn, Jared Kelenic. Maybe not so much the Wander Francos, but those two for sure. But all right. Any final thoughts, Ray, on this? This was fun.
Yeah, this was fun. This was a good hour and a half. I appreciate the invite and spending the time breaking it down with you guys. Good luck in all your leagues this year.
Thank you. All right, why don't you just tell us where we can read your stuff, reach you, learn more about Ray Murphy.
My columns appear in the general manager's office at baseballhq.com. You can find my work in the Baseball Forecaster book as well, and follow me on Twitter at RayHQ.
All right, Ruvain, you?
You can follow me on Twitter at MLB Injury Guru, where I'm tweeting out injury updates daily. And the next guy's up as well, and how long the players will be out. You can also catch my in-season article at RotoBaller, also discussing the same injuries, and the next guy's up.
All right, and my name's Ariel Cohen. You can read my stuff at Fangraphs, CBS Sportsline, and RotoBaller. You can reach me at ATCNY on Twitter, and of course, listen to us every week at the Beat the Shift podcast. We've got a podcast planned for next week. I think we're going to skip a week as it's going to be heavy draft season, but we've doubled up on a bunch of episodes here, including this one-off episode of doing a mock draft. And thank you so much to Ray Murphy for joining this. This was a nice talk through. Hopefully the listeners here got a feel for how you think, what we think, and analyzing certain players as we go. Hope this was helpful. If you did, please give us a comment and let us know that you enjoyed it. If you didn't, let me know also. But hopefully those who do enjoy it really picked up something from it. Once again, Ariel Cohen and Ruben Guy, and thank you to Ray Murphy for joining. This is the Beat the Shift podcast, and good luck in your drafts in 2021. And we'll see you here next time.
Thanks for listening to the Beat the Shift podcast presented by Fangraphs. Follow us on Twitter at beat_shift_pod.